evening, everybody. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, I was muted. Today we're going to divide the class in two parts. First, we're going to have a lesson to understand what are sets and joins. Once you finish this lesson, you will be able to start working in this assignment that is called SQL Bolt. In this assignment, it's going to be required that you are going to create several joins. So I will introduce you guys to understand what is a join today. And then this assignment, because it's contained 18 lessons, maybe this assignment is going to take you 2 days. So today we're going to start. If you need help with this kind of joins, I could be helping you. And the idea is that we can finish this assignment in 2 days. The first half of today, the second half for today, and the first half for tomorrow. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Great. So um, let's start with the class. Okay, so there is something very important that databases, they are very similar to something that we learn in math that we call them sets. I don't know if you remember in algebra that we have this kind of situations that we're going to group a pair of numbers there inside of a set, and we can do operations inside of those sets. So if you don't remember that, I'm going to explain that part again because it's part of the content. But if you remember what is a set, a Venn diagram, that's going to help you, okay? So first, the objectives. We're going to understand the concept of a set. We're going to explore various sets operation. There are four, like the most common of them, but we're going just to focus on two of them. We call them unions and intersections. Then we're going to learn about joins in Postgres, okay? Because joins and sets are very similar. We need to understand that a table is similar to a set too. Let's continue. Now, the basic operations that you can apply doing sets, I'm not saying that these are the only operations that you can apply to a set, are the next ones. We call them intersections, union, differences, and symmetric difference. Now, to understand what is a set is that it's a group of numbers or a group of elements that we're going to be joining here. So for example, the set A, this one, the content of the set A it's 1, 2, and 3. And the content of the set B it's 3, 4, and 5. Very similar to an array. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Set A, the content of it is 1, 2, 3. Set B, the content is 3, 4, and 5. Now, the operations that we can apply here. So the first operation that we are going to get focused right now is the intersection. The intersection is using these symbols like an and we want to identify the common elements in both sets. So which is the common element? It's going to be the 3, right? Because 3 is the one that is common here. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. This is something that we learn in algebra. Now, what is an union? An union, guys, we're going to uh, add all the elements from A and B without no duplicates. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is going to be the union of both sets. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Now we're going to avoid talking about these two operations because these two operations they are not similar to joins. Okay, right now. So what is a set intersection? Okay, let's explain more about this topic. And the set intersection is going to include common elements. The elements must be appearing in both of the sets. So this is the example number 1. We have the set 1 and 2, and the intersection with the set 2 and 3 is just the number 2. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now look this example. This is a very different one. We have the set A and B, right? As you see, we can have objects here. They are not only numbers. We can have names, objects, anything that you want to put there. Okay, so as you see, we have A and B as one set, and C and D as the set number 2, or the second set. Now the union of both sets is going to be a void set, or an empty set, because we don't have any element that is common there. Do you agree with that?
Is that
Yes.
intersection or union?
This is an intersection. The union, it's a U.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this. Let me show it again. Oh, give me a second. For some reason, it's very, yeah. As you see, the intersection is an N, and the union is a U.
Okay.
Okay, great. Now let's continue. Let me see, give me a second. Okay, now let's understand what is a union. Now, the set union is going to combine elements from both sets. So the duplicates elements are going to list it just once, and we have 3 examples here. The set, let me show you, let me put some. Okay, so we have, this is the set A, or the set number 1 and the set number 2. So as you see, we have 1, 2, 2, 3. So the union is going to be 1, 2, and 3. We're going to remove the duplicates. Now, this is another example, and this is going to contain letters. The set number 1 contains A and B, and the set number 2 contains C and D. But the union is going to be A, B, C, D. Because we don't have no duplicates here, we're just joining the information here. Now, this is the next example. 5 and 6, 6, 7, 8. So the union is going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great, excellent. Let's continue. Okay, now I have some exercises for you right now. I will be solving the first 2 exercises for you. Okay, so I will be typing here in the screen, but the idea is that you can help me later with the next ones. So I'm gonna put in here the answer. I don't know if you can see my. Let's see, give me a second. I think I'm gonna draw. It's gonna be easier. So let's see. I mean, we have. This is the definition of the exercise number 1. We have 2 sets here, or 2 arrays, the A and the B array. The content of the array A is going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the content of the array B is 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if we want to identify the intersection between A and B, what's going to be the answer? So I will be doing this one. Give me a second, I will put it here. So the answer is going to be the ones that we have in common. So how many how many numbers do we have in common here? 3,
2.
right? 3 and 4. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So the answer is going to be, give me a second. It's going to be a new set. We're going to call this set C. We're going to open curly brackets, and the content of the set C's will be 3 and 4. You see the answer in color blue here?
Yep.
Yes.
Now, let's see, erase this. Great. Now, the next question. What's going to be the union between the set A and B? So we're going to remove duplicates, and the duplicates are going to be these ones, right?
Right.
Do you agree with that?
Yep.
So
Yes.
the answer is going to be a new set. In this case, will be the set D. And we're going to say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're missing the number 6. Does this make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. Now I'm going to do the second exercise. We have the array X, and the content is cat, dog, and rabbit. The array Y is containing dog, hamster, and parrot. So the the intersection of these two arrays are, the result's going to be just the dog, right? Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to create a new set. This is maybe cool. You could call it A if you want. And the union will be just the word or the element, the animal dog. Okay, now let's go for the next example. Now we require the union of both sets. In this case, we're going to remove duplicates that are only these two, okay? So the new content will be cat, dog, rabbit, hamster, and parrot. Do you agree?
Yep.
Yes.
Give me a second. So this is the answer. Okay, guys, I have done these exercises for you, but now I want you that you want to try to solve, that you can try to solve the next exercise. It's gonna be this one. Okay, so I'm gonna pause right now the recording, and the idea is that you can solve this exercise, the two exercises, okay, by yourself. Let me know when you have the answers, okay? Solving the problems. I will be putting the answers here.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Raylan, can you provide me the first answer?
Science.
Just science, right? Great.
Correct.
Great. Let's see. Tammy, do you have the answer number 2? Let's see, Justine.
Hold on. Math, science, history, art, and music.
Great. Okay. Now, Joshua, can you give me this answer? A intersection B for the
Yeah,
second
blue.
exercise? Just blue.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Frey, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you
I have red, blue, and green.
red, blue, and green? Excellent. Okay. Now, Raylan, can you give me the next exercise, please?
Sure. It's green.
Green. Just green, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And let's see. Justine, can you give me the last one?
Blue, green, yellow.
Thank you. Well, guys, let me explain you that now you know how these operations work in math, because this is math. We're going to apply these operations into databases, okay? Let me explain you some previous data first so we can start creating this kind of operations in our databases. Right now, we're going to have an example of two tables that are going to be related. We're going to have a table of students and a table of grades. So in the table of students, we're going to have an ID that is going to represent the student, and we're going to have a name. Then in the table of grades, we're going to have the student ID as a foreign key, okay? The class name and the grade. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a relationship one-to-many, because one student can have several grades, right? Do you agree with that? Now,
Yes.
Yeah.
something is missing here in the definition of the table. We need to add the ID grade, because the tables require primary keys. And we need to set up that this is a foreign key. So this is very important. For example, if you are trying to create a foreign key using SQL, we need to add the constraint references. And then we need to put the name of the table. In this case, is the table of students. Do you agree with this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then we need to put it in the parentheses the name of the primary key. In this case, the name of the primary key is just the ID, right? So we're going to set up just the ID in the parentheses. And this is creating a foreign key in the table of grades. And remember, this kind of relationship is a one-to-many, because one student can have several grades. If you remember the rules, when we have relationships one-to-many, we copy the parent primary key in the child record. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, I want you to understand something here. This is going to be a numeric value. But how can you read? Do you understand what's going on in this check? This is a constraint.
Okay.
Can
It has to
you?
be between 0 and 100.
Yes. So the way to interpret this part is that the grade that we're going to be putting inside of the grade, it's a number between 0 and 100. So this is a constraint. Remember, these kind of constraints are very important, so we can make sure that our data is not going to have garbage data. It doesn't make sense that the grade is going to be a negative value, right? Do you agree with that? And the grade
Yes.
cannot be over 100, because you know that the maximum grade is 100. So these kind of validations are very important, and we do this kind of validations using constraints. So what we're going to do right now is that I'm going to open my VS Code, and I will be accessing to my database. Let's see. Oh, this is the database. Remember that here we have the queries, right? Here we have the tables that we have been creating. I'm going to remove this table right now. The way to do that is that you can just, let's see, right click this and drop the table. No problem with this. I will drop it, and I will be creating a new query. And this will be join. I'm going to share this file with you guys. Joins class 3 week. This is the class number 4, week number 2. Okay, now here I will be creating the tables. So the first table, we have two tables here, the students and the grade. We understand that the grade is a child record of the student, right? So we cannot create this table without creating the students first. So this is the first one, okay? Create table, students, and here I will be providing the ID of the student, the data type is going to be a serial. Remember, this is an auto increment integer, and we are going to set up that this is going to be the primary key. Now we're going to assign a name to this person or to this student. We can pull this, yeah, just name, no problem with that. And this is going to be a text value. Now I'm going to create the table of students. I will run the query here, and now in this section you will see that I have a new table. You see it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. If I click the table, I can see the content here. Now let's return to the query here. The next table that I will be creating is going to be the grade table. Great, no problem. Okay, let's see the ID. Grade. This will be a serial again, and the primary key. Now we're going to set up the name of the class. This will be a text value. Let's remember the student ID. This will be an integer. And this is going to have a reference to the table of students. This is creating a foreign key, remember, guys. So we need to put here the primary key of that table. In this case, it's just the word ID. Now we're going to add the grade. And this is going to be a numeric value. And we're going to add a check constraint that the grade should be between 0, 1 or 0. Let's see. 0, yeah, 0. 0 and 100. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, these two operations, do you see that you can put this, but we can use the operator that is called between. This is an operator that it's common to use in SQL. So it's easier to read it, right? Between 0 and 100, that setting up that the grade needs to be greater than 0 and less than 100. It's like the same operation, but the between is going to help you with that. Does this make sense?
Yes. And between includes the numbers 0 and 100?
Yes, it's going to include.
Okay.
It's going to include them, yeah. So let's run them, the query. Okay, so I'm going to start creating data inside of the tables. So I have some data prepared here. I have 3 students, and these are some students that I will be inserting in the table. So right now, if I select the table of students here, you see that I click it, and you see the content of the table. You see it here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now I will be inserting the grades for Alice right now, okay? So as you see, guys, this is a comment. The way that you can add comments to SQL is by putting double hyphen, okay? In this case, that's going to help you to know what's going on in this query, okay? So let me insert this data. Just click run here. Now let's read the table of grades. You see? Now, in this case, you can see, or yeah, you can view the related record just by clicking here, and you will see which is the record that is the owner of this grade. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Very similar to Supabase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's continue. I'm going to insert a new elements. Some new elements. Okay, now I'm going to insert Bob's grades. I will run the query. Let's read the table of grades again. You will see, guys, that now we have 6 records, and this is going to insert the information for Carol. Let me run it. Okay, now if I read the table of grades, I have 9 records. You see them, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Remember, this information is hitting our RDS instance in AWS. So everything that you have here is uploaded into AWS. So this is very, I don't know if for you if this is exciting, but for me it is, because I'm doing something that could be working in the real life right now. Okay, so now let's talk about how this data is going to be managed using joins, because we have learned what is set, right? Now we're going to understand how those operations that we apply on sets can be working here in a database too. So the first operation that we're going to learn right now is the inner join operation. So as you see here, this inner join is going to bring all the elements that you have in common between two tables. Imagine this is the table A and this is the table B. So once you do that, that's going to bring information that is making sense between the two tables. Does this make sense? So they're
Yes.
matching between the two tables. Now, um, this is not going to bring something without no parent, okay? So I'm going to provide you an example of how to do an inner join with these two tables right now. Now, it's very important that joins, you might need to know that joins are very used if you want to create reports, okay? So this is going to create a report. Let me explain you that. And the way to do joins is that you're going to um, create the connection between the primary key of the parent table and the connection of the foreign key of the child record. So you will see this right now. Select all. In this case, right now, I'm going to bring everything from the tables, from the table of students. Remember, the student table contains the parent records, right? Because the grades are child records of the students. So I prefer always to put the first table as the parent table. Now, we can rename the table, remember that. And we're going to say from now on that the letter A is going to represent the table of students, okay? So now I'm going to apply the operation inner join with the table of grades. And now the table of grades is going to be renamed by the letter B. This is easier. You will see that this is going to be easier to be read it. Okay, so now we need to set up how we're going to join the two tables. So we're going to put the reserved word on. In this case, we need to understand that once we put this, the on reserved word, we're going to set up how to join them. And as I told you guys, we're going to join the primary key of the student table and the foreign key of the grade table. Let me remove the A and the letter B. You will see that, I mean, if you are beginners, it's better if you put the name of the table. So what we're going to do right now is that we're going to say that the students dot ID it's equal to the grades dot ID student. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Kinda.
Oh, a student. Sorry, it's a student's ID. My mistake. So this is going to bring the connections, guys. Let me show what's going to happen right now. This is not working. Oh, the table is called grades. Let's see. Here is the problem. Grades. Okay, let's run it. And you will see that we have the ID of the record Alice, the ID of the grade. It's representing the math class, and the grade is 88. You see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you will see that Alice is going to contain three grades, right? So that's why you see the word Alice or the name Alice repeated 3 times. It's equivalent to this ID number 1. Does this make sense?
Yep.
So from now on, if you know how to do this kind of joins, you're not going to put in your table in your, I mean, imagine that you are doing like a software that is going to help you to identify the grades of the students, you're not going to put a query that is going to be just right now, select all from grades. Now you will know that this ID that you have here, you don't know the name of this ID, right? If you want to know the name, you might need to do this operation to grab the name. Okay, so my recommendation, we are going to avoid to have a column that is going to repeat the content. So if you see here, something that is in common is this one and this one, right? Because they are repeating everything. So we're going to avoid columns that are repeating the information. So what my recommendation here is the next one. Instead of selecting all the data between the two tables, let's start selecting just the columns that we want to put in the report. So from the students table, I will be bringing the ID because I think the ID is important. For the students table, I will be bringing as well the name. Now, about the grades, I'm going to bring the class name and the grade. Does this make sense? Now you will see a different report. You see the data, it looks better, right?
Yeah.
It's like prettier. So as you see, guys, Alice has 3 grades here, Bob and Carol. So this is an inner join. The way that we can grab the idea of something or the code of something, you might need to know how to do inner joins. Now, as you see, guys, in the operations, I put in here the name of the table and then the property that I want to show in the report, right? Now, it is possible that we can rename the table of students. Instead of putting the word student here, you can rename it just by the letter A. And from now on, you can do something like this. A. Does this make sense? Instead of
Yes.
typing the word students. Now, the grade table, the grades table is going to be renamed by the letter B. And instead of putting here the word grades, just type the letter B. It's easier, right? Does this make sense? That's easier. And then the letter B here. And you will see that you're going to have the same result. Put it here again. It's the same result. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now another thing that we can do if you're doing a report, guys, is that you can rename a column. For example, if you want that the report is going to have a different word here instead of ID, you can set up as the word. This as is replacing the original name, and you can put it as ID of student, for example. You will see that this ID from now on is going to be not existing, but the name of the column is going to be this one. You see?
Mm. Yeah.
Or let's put it as a student ID. I think is better. I'm going to rename this column as student name. I think this column represents the class name and the grade. It's better. So if I run again the query, a student ID, a student name, class name, and grade. Now it makes more sense when you read the columns that you're going to understand that this is the ID of the student, the name of the student, the class name, and the grade. I think it's a better report. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put in here, this is an example of inner join. This is the first join that we're understanding today. Now, let's go and let's understand right now what is a left join. In this case, the left joins, guys, is going to return all the rows from the left table. In this case, guys, the left table is this one because it's the first one that it is appearing in the inner operation. This is the left table, and this is the right table. Does this make sense? Because it's
Yep.
the first one that is, I mean, we read from left to right, okay? So this is the left table, and this is the right table. So if you are doing this kind of operations, My recommendation right now is that I'm going to insert another student. You will see it. 3 more students. But the primary key is 4, 5, and 6. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Okay, let me insert these students in the table. Now, how many students do I have right now? You will see that I have 6 students, right? Now, does this student, Superman, contains a grade?
No.
No, right? But if your manager requires you a report and he demands to you, I need a report of all the students. You see, this is a very important word. Of all the students and their grades. If they do not have grades, they should appear in the report. So these kind of reports is going to require the left join because we need to I need to put all the students in the report. So let me show you that we can copy this instruction because it's going to be a very similar instruction. And instead of using the inner join, I'm going to change it as a left join. You will see that I'm going to bring all the students with their grades and without no grades. Let me show you. Now, this is Alice, Bob, Carol, and you will see that Wonder Woman is going to have a null value for the class name for the grade 2 because she doesn't have right now. She doesn't have class names and grades. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this a left join is going to respect all the records that we have in the left table. Now you will see this that the nulls are going to appear where no match is found. So this is a very important hint. If you found a null here, it's because maybe we are having a left join report. Okay. Now let's understand what is a right join, and it's the opposite. In this case, you are going to bring all the grades, and if you have a grade without no student, that grade is going to appear here. Now, it's very important to understand that we have a foreign key, so we're going to bring all the grades and all the students. But this Wonder Woman record, Batman and Superman is not going to appear because it doesn't have grades. Okay, so let's change the report. Oh, sorry. Let's copy the report and let's recreate it in a new line. But in this case, instead of using left join, I'm going to change it as right join. Okay, so as you see, in this case, it's similar to an inner join because it doesn't make sense that you can have a grade without having a student. I mean, it's going to break because we are having foreign keys here. Does it make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay, so you might need to understand what are the objectives of using reports or joins. And it's because we're going to work with data. We're going to be saving data in our databases. So it's very important to understand that these operations are necessary if you want to put a report or a CRUD operation in your table. Okay, you might need to know this kind of information, or maybe your manager is going to request you this kind of reports to take this. To make decisions. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Remember that the data that you are introducing into a project, in the end or later on, is going to be used to take decisions, to make decisions. The board, the owners of the company require this kind of data so they can take, they can make decisions. And this is kind of something that we call business analyst. we are doing this kind of queries because we need to create reports to take decisions. Okay, so that's the importance of using joins, and you might need to know how to use joins if you are going to become a developer too, and if you are saving data on RDS databases. Now, the last join that I will be explaining today, it's a join that is called, no, it's just this one, sorry. There are two more joins, but I think I'm not going to explain those two joins right now because it doesn't make sense, this kind of joins in the real life. So I'm just explaining the ones that I use it in my 12 years of experience. Okay, but there are two more joins that are, another one is called full outer join, and the other one is, no, that's only one. That's only one that is missing, the full outer join. I haven't used that one just for validating data. Okay, but that's an operation that is not common if you are developing. So guys, as a conclusion, we have joins to create reports, okay? And we use them in our daily life as coders if you want to create reports in your projects. For example, imagine that you have a table of all the users in your social network, and then you're going to have a table of posts, right? And that's a relationship one to many. Do you agree with me with that?
Yeah.
The user is going to have several posts. So if you want to have a record of all the of all the users with their posts, you might need to do an inner join. So that's why we need to understand them. Okay, so right now, guys, this is like the last part of the lesson. But now you're going to be able to start working with this assignment that is called SQL Vault. Let me show you. This assignment, guys, um, it is going to contain 18 lessons. Let me read it. Now, the first lesson is like an introduction to databases. The lesson 2 and 6 is going to require to create queries. You will see that's going to be easy. Then the next lesson is going to help you to identify how to do groups. Also, the operation sum, average is going to appear in this kind of exercises. And then the last part of the lesson is going to require you to understand what is subquery, how to create tables, and how to manage the database. So this is a very practical assignment. You will like this assignment, you will see that. So if you want to advance in this assignment, you might need to read everything that you have here. So you will need to read this and so on and continue reading. Once you read this, the big lesson is going to start here. Okay? So as you see, first you need to read all this content. So once you read it, you will be able to start solving these assignments. So for example, the first assignment says that you're going to find the title of each film. How we can do that? So the answer is going to be just select the titles. And as you see, the data is just bringing the title and you have accomplished the first part of the task. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, once you finish the exercise number 1, my recommendation is that you can take a screenshot, save it somewhere, because I will request 18 screenshots to identify that you have finished all the 18 exercises. Okay, so do you have questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me.
So you want a screenshot of like the one that you just did had 5 questions. So
Yeah,
you want us to
yeah.
answer all of those and then take the screenshot of the final one with all of them checked off? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes. So for example, I'm going to solve the next question to find that director. I have accomplished the second one, title and director. Title and year. And the last one, select all. In this case, select all is the wild card. Does this make sense? Now,
Yes.
you could continue with the next assignment. And once you've, once the green button appears, you take the screenshot.
Okay.
You save it somewhere. That's the idea. Okay, guys, so let me know if you need any support solving this assignment. Okay, so let me stop recording and you can start.
It was just, does it matter if the answer we give gives a check mark, but it's not the answer it gives for the solution?
Can you present so I can understand it?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure if here, actually, hold on. Oh, I need to move this to another monitor so it's big enough for the share button to show up. All right, so I'd clicked on the solution and it gave this, but it gave a check mark for all I did was, this is what I had originally typed, all from
Find the
movies.
first.
There.
Uh,
Actually, what did I do? Actually, I did where ID. That's what I put, and then it put a check mark there, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem right, and then hit solution, and then it showed me the actual solution.
and what's the actual solution? Yes, I think so. I mean, remember in programming, there's not only one way to solve it. For example, you can use um, here's something that is called order by. I don't know if you read about that right now. No. Well, you use okay, so the operators that you were using right now were between, less than, greater than. So you might know, because you know the data, that's the way that you can order the data. I mean, that you can grab the first movies. Does this make sense? I mean,
Yep.
that's the answer. I mean, that's an answer. I'm not saying that's the unique answer, but that could solve the problem with no. Yeah, I mean that could solve the problem too. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You are welcome.